There we go. What better aisle to start the first grocery trip of the bulk than the cereal aisle? So I'm going to curb my enthusiasm just a touch. I'm still going to get Cinnamon Toast Crunch, of course. I mean, come on. It'd be crazy not to. But I'm honestly, for like the majority, I'm a bit more of a fan of the fucking Special K. So, and 2 scoops, 2 boxes, that'll be perfect. Not, so again, like I kind of alluded to in the last day of the diet, I'm easing up on the sugar intake. I am easing up on the sugar intake. The majority of these carbs are going to be coming from, well, just slower digesting carb sources, you know, so it's not so kind of tough on my system in a way, which is something I've only kind of begun to really understand the value of as of late. But better late than never, you know. I got to hit 280 somehow, and then fast forward a few months or a few years, I got to hit 300 somehow. You know, so if I can get in tune with the machine that is this big ass fucking thing walking around here pushing this cart, the sooner I can do that, the better. So, let's see, what's the smallest box? Yeah, I mean, come on. I'm not crazy. One of these is going in the cart. But, don't worry. Not all cereal. But while we're over here, may as well stop, get a gallon of fucking, honestly, not whole milk. Because I'm trying to ease up on the fat intake, you know, because I'm trying to, like I was saying yesterday, I'm mainly concerned, my primary concern right now is maximizing my carb intake. I don't want most of my calories coming from carbs. I'm going to still get, you know, 150 grams of fats, but just, because you got to remember, if you eat 3,000 extra calories one day of just straight up fats, it's not going to make you feel any fuller. You're not going to wake up the next day any more fucking jacked. If anything, you're just going to feel kind of fucking heavy and sort of slow in a way. Which I know might sound kind of crazy for me to say. I'm such a fucking, you know, calorie fanatic. But you guys know what you're talking about. Calories are not always calories per se. So I'm thinking, two of these little things, a 2% reduced fat milk. Perfect. And then, oh, there we go, right here. No, yeah. Because I still want the yolks. But I don't think I'm going to eat only whole eggs. I might just do a few whole eggs coupled with some egg whites. Because the last thing you want to do, I mean, if you're bulking up, why are you throwing away your yolks? You know, if you want to have egg whites, I think just get egg whites in an egg white specific carton, and then it kind of saves you a mess. So let's just keep thinking and see what else we need. All right, stopped and got some, just any kind of electrolyte drink mix is gonna be something that's good for you. But while we're on the topic of sweets, I'd feel crazy not to stop and get a fucking 6-pack of Krispy Kreme. I'm not going to slam these as soon as I get home. I might just have those as a treat now that I have access. But, like I said, I mean, I do want most of my carbs coming from sort of slower digesting carb sources. So that's where I'm headed now, is to try to find some fucking rice. I'm a massive kind of instant rice fan, to the point where it's like just the individual packets you can throw in the microwave. Not the most cost-effective method, though, to the point where I might do that for a little bit, but I really just need to get acquainted with the with my rice cooker that I got at home. I have yet to use it, because that's really the best way to go about it, I think. At least if you're going to be eating a lot of rice in one day, just, you know, cook 400 grams of carbs worth of rice, have it hot and ready in the rice cooker all day, and then just scoop out of it as needed. That's sort of the approach that I think I'm going to end up sticking with. Could have sworn I'm in the rice aisle. Oh, there we go. Way down there. So, cost-wise, this is definitely something to consider. You're going to be best off buying a lot of plain foods if you're looking for pure, like, calories per dollar. I mean, that's not kind of what my approach is right now. I'm almost looking a little bit more so for ease of consumption and, like, quick preparation. But buying a massive kind of pound of or bag of like potatoes, massive like 10-pound bags of rice. Like I'd get massive, actually massive sort of boxes of jasmine rice. I think that's what I better grab next. Yeah, exactly. So this is sort of my go-to rice choices. Big ass box right here, minute rice. And I do kind of have my own sort of, I mean, this isn't a patented technique, of course. I'm not going to say this is the Sam Sulek method, but it's so easy to cook this because there's no need for any pots, pans, or anything fancy. I haven't measured out the actual amounts of water. I kind of just sort of not guess because I know how much it. Take a big cereal bowl, a big bowl. I'm talking like 3 cups or so. Weigh out this much rice, and then kind of just fill it with water enough where water is at the brim of the rice. Cover it with a paper towel, and then microwave for 5 minutes. And then it ends up just being fucking perfectly cooked. So doing that, and then while it's ripping hot, cracking 3 eggs into it and kind of doing a little bit of a fried rice kind of situation, that ends up being like the easiest 80 grams of carbs, 20 grams of protein, 15 grams of fat that I can get in my system at once. So that is definitely going to be another kind of staple sort of breakfasty style meal. So that's honestly probably your best bet. That, something like that at least, or straight up just getting like one of these massive bags of rice. That would work out pretty well too. But in terms of real kind of instant quickness, these sort of Ben's Originals have never failed me. A little high on the fat side though, so I'm not like gonna slam these for every meal. But let's see if I can find my favorite. I'm looking for beef and broccoli. Wait, no, what the hell am I talking about? I'm looking for broccoli cheddar. Yeah, my brother got not my brother, but one of my parents had like P.F. Chang's leftover, and now I'm thinking about it. Well, that kind of sucks for me. 4 cheese will do well. So instead of kind of going through the process of actually prepping a whole bowl of rice and deal with that sort of cooking, measuring water, something like this, it's more of a just throw in the microwave, wait 2 minutes, throw onto your plate. But $2.50 just for the rice portion of your meal, it's not necessarily awesome. So if budget is concerned, I probably wouldn't lean towards stuff like this and stick more so with the bulking kind of big boxes of rice. But let's keep moving on. More so just on the personal preference side of things. Love these instant mac and cheeses of any variety, but I may only do kind of half the cheese just to mitigate a little bit of that fat intake. So something I am definitely accustomed to is slamming some of these pack ramens. The shelf is fucking empty though. I really love getting like the 12 packs. I guess I'll just get a couple. So with something like this, 50 grams of carbs each, 14 grams of fat, a little on the high end. But apart from the fact that there's a bit of sodium in the mix when you add the flavoring, I see no fucking problem with this, I would be concerned if you were trying to diet down. If you weren't slamming a ton of food or slamming a ton of fluids and then you suddenly have like 3 of those one day, you might feel kind of puffy just because you're kind of gonna get hit with some water retention. But if you're drinking a lot of water on a consistent basis, sodium, electrolytes, that's not your enemy, man. That's your fucking friend. I think that's a good chunk of the fucking carb side of things. I think it's time to get some proteins. So one thing that I really love about the sous vide, that little like essentially just a controlled water heater that I've been cooking the steaks in, is you can do tilapia in there as well. Now, of course, it's got the same problem that, putting anything in the sous vide has, which is that once it's cooked, whatever meat you just cooked no longer has a sear on it. But honestly, fucking just kind of plain, like almost sort of boiled style tilapia, salt, pepper, lemon, that's fine with me, man. Then lean fish. I think it is so crazy that people will kind of hate on proteins that are, just kind of a pure protein source. Like people will rip on eating rabbit, just because it's not, covering every micronutrient. Dude, if you're eating a protein specifically for the protein that's contained within it, as long as it's a quality source, I'm not freaking out. That's why guys kind of That's how everyone loves talking about like steaks as a superfood because they're full of, fats and fatty acids and saturated everything like vitamins and iron. Like that's all good and true. But looking at it purely as a protein source, I think it's just as good as anything else and no better. So that's actually where we're headed to next. But a little bit of tilapia there. I mean, it just goes down so fucking easy. I can definitely foresee in the future as this bulk progresses and it actually gets tricky to put down food. Like I said, I'm in the honeymoon period. This first month, this first month of bulking is going to be like nothing. I mean, this food is just going to kind of disappear as soon as I get it on my plate. And all I have to do is eat as much as I'm hungry for. But once actually getting the food down becomes a concern, that's when I'm going to be much more specific with the types of foods that I'm eating. Making sure that my bowl of rice is well saturated with like some kind of barbecue sauce or something so it's nice and moist. I don't leave my, whatever, if I make a bunch of chicken in the oven or something, I don't let it get too dry and like flaky, because I'll give you this as a little bit of a bulking tip. Dry, plain, like just kind of anything gritty, that is your enemy when it comes to getting food down consistently. So that's why, I mean, half the time I won't even make like individually plated meals. I might just do like half a pound of ground beef mixed with some of that cooked rice, mixed with barbecue sauce, mixed with maybe some cheese, all kind of just in like a, mixed up in sort of a sloppy Joe kind of stew in a way, just so I can sit there, kind of claw at it, and it's not a massive kind of chore to eat. Now that's more so a tip for anybody who's got problems getting food down. If you got no problem appetite-wise, eat whatever the hell you want, as long as it's fitting your, necessary criteria macro-wise. So, yeah, a couple of ribeyes would be perfect. I'm no longer limited to just lean-ass cuts of top around, but I kind of want to pick the ones that don't have, like, massive fat caps. Yeah, there we go. And then now, all I need is some ground beef. At least in terms of my red meat intake. So I'm still not going to go for fucking 80-20. Even when I'm dieting down, or no, even when I'm bulking up, I'm still going to get a relatively lean cut of steak, or a lean percentage of ground beef, just because it's less of a hassle, And I'm not saying this is a recommendation, because your results may vary, but I've never had a problem when I strain like 96% beef and leaner. When I strain that into the sink, I never have a problem with anything clogging, because there's just not so much fats in it to the point where, when you you strain off your fat and the water from the steak or the ground beef into a bowl, with something like an 80-20 with a much fattier cut, what's going to happen is there's going to be a real thick fucking beef tallow layer that forms on top. But with the lean cuts, with the lean ground beef, it doesn't happen. It's all just kind of release fluids from the steak. So just saves a little bit on time and effort in terms of the actual cooking process. So 2 pounds of Laura's lean beef, that'll do me good. Took me a second to find it. I'm talking sardines. Look, if you're on the, let's say if you're at all inclined to the primal lifestyle, then you are well aware of the nutrient density of sardines. So I guess honestly all I have to do is pick which one I like the most. I'm really looking for a King Oscar Mediterranean to give you some, oh, there we go. Nice. So yeah, gross, fishy. You're gonna smell like fish. Maybe don't bring this in your school lunch or your office lunch to and just open one of these up. It's definitely kind of off-putting, but in terms of the actual just fucking amount of shit that's in these, all I hear is good things. And one thing that I I'm not a guy who's gonna say you need to get absolutely every macro and micronutrient you need from your food itself and not like, supplement it from vitamins or whatever else. But one thing that I can say I definitely do feel the benefits from is taking fish oil. So in that same logic, may as well get it directly from the fucking source here. Let me try to keep thinking of anything else I need, but this cart's getting pretty fucking full. Nearly wrapped up. So that is pretty much fucking it. Apart from a couple sort of snacky items I threw in there. I love the cream cheese and chives, little like wafer cookie snacks that you throw in your kid's lunch. Plus a couple of Pringles. Not for the sake of any dieting purpose. Really just because I like them. You know, my this bulk is not a clean-cut, pure chicken, rice, broccoli approach. But I do think that there's going to be some serious changes in terms of the majority of the calorie load. You know, because I've definitely gone through periods of time where, you know, my carb quality was not necessarily the best, which it seemed to work. I mean, I've made some serious gains so far, but you know, making the majority of my calories, especially in the carb side of things, plain white rice, you know, I'm fine with the Special K, just wheat-based cereal. I'll probably, I gotta ask my mom how she makes her potatoes. I know that's how I like them, so I gotta kind of steal her recipe. But that's pretty much it. So I'm sure this will disappear faster than expected, and I'm gonna be in here more often than, well, way more often than I would be when I'm trying to diet down. But I'm not sure if I made this its own video, or if this is like before or after tomorrow's chest day. I guess we'll have to just find out. But that's all I got, man. The bulk has begun. I'll see you tomorrow. Or whenever, I don't know. Forgot about the oatmeal. This is where it's at. Love the blueberry.